guys, we had enough of this. There's something ridiculous happening. I made like dozens of videos on this, but don't know what to say.
Yep, guys, this is never happening in the UFC. There's a champ, and then there's an interim champ. And the champion doesn't want to fight the interim champion. And this is massive. This is massive, and this is mind-boggling. The reason why this is mind-boggling is coming from Jon Jones. Apparently, he's the greatest of all time. This huge fan. He has huge fan. Everybody, whenever you talk about Khabib, whenever you talk about Demetrius Johnson, they're like, no, Jon Jones is the best ever. But now his own fans are turned against him. They're saying, why are you ducking Tom Aspinall? And Jon Jones has so many answers. He's saying he's not ducking. He's not giving him the popularity that Tom Aspinall wants. But Tom Aspinall doesn't even care about that. He just wants the legacy fight against Jon Jones. And Jon Jones keeps on saying that fight does nothing for him. When in fact that fight does everything for him, because the fans wants to see it. The media wants to see it. Even the media is asking Jon Jones, why are you ducking? Why are you doing this? Why are you avoiding him? And basically it's absolutely ridiculous. We never seen something like this in UFC. There's a champion who's avoiding to fight an interim champion.
Because there is nothing in it for him. And he wants to fight Stipe Miocic, and he's saying, I'm going to get everything out of this fight and my respect is going to go up. No. We saw the press conference. We saw what happens.
Yep.
When Dana White is like, the winner of this fight is absolutely going to fight Tom Aspinall.
Yep, the crowd went insane. And that's the legacy fight for him. Not Stipe Miocic, who's like 42 years old. That's not like huge fight for him.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to build it up like the best heavyweight of all time fighting Jon Jones, who's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But Tom Aspinall has 5 of the top contenders in the heavyweight. 5
of the top 10. And he's one of those top 10, so it means out of the other 9 guys, he has fought 5 top guys.
Crazy.
So
we're just gonna react to a couple of interviews.
And Jon Jones is basically like, he hasn't fought anybody.
Yeah.
And he needs to fight champions.
Yeah, literally. And he's comparing Tom Aspinall to Ciryl Gane, which is crazy to me. Ciryl Gane doesn't even have any grappling. He said himself he doesn't even train wrestling.
He's like, I don't train jiu-jitsu. Like he said, I've never trained jiu-jitsu in my life. I was like, that was smart, Ciryl.
Yeah.
You should have said it. Like, you should have told him.
Yeah.
that was a great job.
This is so bizarre coming from Jon Jones, who's a killer in heart, but he's just trying to avoid it. We're gonna react to this.
He's not just ducking Tom Aspinall. He's also ducking Adam Catterall. He also ducked an interview.
Yeah, I saw that. He
walked out of an interview. He's like, I'm not going to do it. It's going to be another Aspinall fest. He doesn't want to answer any questions. He's tired of it. So we're going to react to some of
So what we're going to do, we're just going to react to these clips. All right, let's go ahead. Let me just put the volume up slightly. 1 second.
Yeah. All right, put the volume up slightly. Alright.
Let's watch this one first.
If I failed to fight Stipe, I would be ducking Stipe because we contractually have been signed up to fight over a year ago. This is Stipe's position. The Tom narrative came out of nowhere. He won a belt and now suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense. So the fans are just ignoring it. They're ignoring all logic, and they just have finally found someone that they think can compete with me, and everyone wants to see it now.
They're ignoring all the logic. He's like, I was never actually signed up to fight Tom in the first place, so how am I ducking? How can you duck a man who is you never been like signed up to fight? Bro, they've been asking you questions in the interview about this. Why don't you say that I will fight him later?
Yeah, exactly. Why don't you say that? He's open to fight Alex Pereira, but he's not open to fight Tom Aspinall, which is insane to me,
right?
Which is insane to me, bro. And the fact that he's saying, he's not ducking, okay, fair enough. Yeah, you haven't been given contract by the UFC, so he's not ducking. He's speaking the truth there. But online, this is the fight game. Tom Aspinall on social media, in person, he said, I wanna challenge Jon Jones. I wanna fight you because I think I can beat you. And these are fighting words. As a fighter, you can't just avoid that. You can't duck that.
And he could have just taken, he's talking about like this contract was signed like a year ago, right?
Yeah.
Tom Aspinall became the interim champion more than a year ago.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, because
he defended the title one time as well. So he became the champion.
It's crazy how
he
the
could have
interim
just
champ
had the contract. Interim champ has to defend the interim championship, and he's probably going to do it again.
He's probably going to do it again, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm not ducking.
Okay, that was our first clip. Let's see this one.
I guess the clarifying question then is, if Dana and Hunter do come to you after this fight, the figures make sense to you, would you then be open to fighting Tom Aspinall, or are you categorically thinking, he does nothing for me, I will not fight that guy?
He does nothing for me. He does nothing for me.
Not even
That's
money. Not even money. They're saying if they pay him well enough money, would you fight him? He's so scared.
Bro,
He
he
doesn't
does
wanna lose it.
nothing for me.
He does nothing
What?
for me. Anthony Smith does a lot for you. Dominic Reyes does a lot. The guys that he was fighting, look at his light heavyweight championship. Stephen
Yeah.
Miocic does nothing for him. Your respect is not gonna go up. It's a 42-year-old washed up.
Exactly, yeah. He
Yeah.
does nothing for him. I don't
He does
understand.
nothing for him. So
I don't understand.
I don't-
If you're a person that wants to see me really challenged, then I get it. 7 years younger.
Yes, we do want to see you challenge.
exactly.
The whole, even your fans want to see you challenge. So it makes sense. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Like 35 pounds bigger than me, right? I get it. It's like, wow, this John's so good. We finally found someone way younger and way bigger than him. Let's see how he does it. I get that narrative.
Look
But for me, if you were my...
Look how he's trying to discredit his abilities by saying, okay, he's 35 pounds heavier than you, but he's 250 right now.
Yeah.
So there's not much of a size difference. I mean, Tom is 250 as well, 255 probably, but Tom is like an actual 255 pounder, and Jones like he's just eaten and lifted weights to actually get to that level.
Yeah.
But now he's trying to discredit a little bit. He's saying, okay, the size difference, and then he's saying that 7 years younger than me. Remember, Jon Jones, when you actually started doing it, when you actually started doing MMA and you were killing people in your weight classes, you were killing legends as well at the same time. Those were 36, 37 years old when he was beating guys like...
Yeah, that's true.
Those guys were pretty old.
That's a good
Some of the
point,
guys
yeah.
that he was beating during the time, like Chael Sonnen, he beat
Yeah.
Chael Sonnen, Rashad Evans,
Yeah.
Rampage Jackson. Those guys were much older than you.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah, they could have said the same thing.
Manager, if you were on my team, why not fight against Pereira, a guy who's the same age as you, and we walk around the same exact size? Business-wise, it makes more sense. Fight I'm going to call him this, fight the nobody that may be more dangerous, or fight the guy with all the accolades who's incredibly dangerous, but it actually will affect your legacy.
I don't understand how he's saying Alex Pereira is more dangerous than Thomas.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Alex Pereira, we haven't seen his grappling at all. So obviously Jon Jones is going to target that. So there's another way of him ducking.
Yeah, it's just going to duck in. He will take the fight with Alex Pereira, and he said that this fight will do more for my legacy.
Yep.
I mean, beating Alex Pereira will definitely do something for his legacy, but at the same time, people actually acknowledge it. People know that Alex Pereira has a hole in his game. He's the best striker ever in UFC, but he has a hole in his game. He
Yeah.
doesn't have high-level grappling, and
Yeah,
this is the way
exactly.
Jones see to take the fight to the ground.
Let's check this out.
You've given answers this week that don't align, obviously, and hopefully at one point. A question for Jon Jones. Jon, you've just heard the reaction from the crowd and Dana's reaction of what they expect next in the heavyweight division. I know that you've given answers this week that don't align, obviously, and hopefully at one point we might get aligned. If we don't get aligned, Saturday night realistically could be the last dance. So with that in question, and it is the last time that we see you inside the UFC octagon, how do you want these good people to remember your time in the UFC?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking it. I want to be remembered as a guy who came, saw, and conquered. Simple as that.
Okay.
That was Adam Catroli asking the question.
Okay, that's...
That narrative, you've obviously been having a little bit of fun with it in the lead up to this fight. You're saying quack quack on Twitter, addressing the duck things. What are those fans getting wrong? Why are you not ducking Tom Aspinall? What are they reading wrong about this situation?
Okay, so I feel like narratives have been created that just truly aren't there. You can't duck a man that you were never scheduled to fight. It's like saying you got turned down by a girl who you never even hit on. You know what I'm saying? It's like me and Dana and Hunter have never sat down and talked about Tom Aspinall.
Why didn't you
He's
talk about it?
never been on my radar. Never. I mean, just a moment ago, it was him and Sergey that was fighting, and Sergey could be in this position right now, and I would still be in the same place. I've beat people my whole career, and once I beat them, like the show just goes on. Like the French fans were just all over my case, and I just beat their guy, and I find myself constantly in the same position of, oh wow, he just beat another guy. Like what's next? You know what I mean? Like when I beat Glover Teixeira.
Pause this for a second. I'll tell you exactly. So before Cyril Gane and Jon Jones, during the build-up, everybody kind of knew Jon Jones was going to destroy Cyril Gane. This was like the narrative around.
Yeah.
Most of the fans, like 70-80% of the fans, thought that Jon Jones was going to destroy him. Some of the people actually believe that Cyril Gane had the size advantage. He's quick on his feet, so he was going to be able to avoid the grappling. But most of the people had the narrative that Jon Jones was going to beat us. So comparing that situation to right now with Tom Aspinall, this is not true. If you actually make up the fight of Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall right now, Tom Aspinall will come as a heavy favorite right now.
Yeah.
Because most of the people will actually believe that Tom Aspinall is better than Jon Jones.
Yeah.
So comparing that situation, and he's like, all the French fans were talking about this. Everybody thought it was just going to go through me, and then I just beat him, and it did nothing for me.
That's BS.
That's BS. I don't know. Yeah.
Was on a 20-fight winning streak, and you beat Glover, and then everything just moves on. So for me personally now, it's just like, I get that Tom is an exciting fighter. I get that finally, after 16 years, we found somebody who's 7 years younger than me and 30 pounds bigger than me. Like, we finally found someone who may give me a great challenge, and everyone wants to see it so bad. But for me, it's like, what is it? What's in it for me? He changes nothing if I beat him. Beating Tom is just like beating Cyril Gane. Has a whole country behind him. He's hot right now. What happens to me after I beat him? Nothing changes for me. So I'm not ducking Tom Aspinall. If I failed to fight Stipe, I would be ducking Stipe because we contractually have been signed up to fight over a year ago. This is Stipe's position. The Tom narrative came out of nowhere. He won a belt, and now suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense. So the fans are just ignoring it. They're ignoring all logic, and they just have finally found someone that they think can compete with me, and everyone wants to see it now.
So bullshit, man.
Bro, this is a message to Jon Jones. Listen,
Yeah.
Jon Jones. I know you're clearly trying to avoid Tom Aspinall, but this is for your legacy. This is for your fans. You want to give them what they want because this is a younger guy, hungry guy. If you give him a chance and you absolutely dominate in a fashion, I promise you will go down as the greatest of all time. There will be no doubts, no denying that you are the greatest of all time in the UFC. Now, because you're going to duck him and you're just going to retire after winning beating Stipe Miocic, it does, like, there still be a hole in your legacy. There will be like that piece missing in your legacy, and you don't want that. You don't want that. For Khabib, it was there, like, he retired too quickly. For Demetrius Johnson, it was there as well, like, he got beaten by Henry Cejudo or something like that. So Henry Cejudo should be the greatest of all time. If you're mentioning about Demetrius, okay, fair enough. But Jon Jones, you have the chance to be the greatest of all time in UFC. If you beat Tom Aspinall, you will be considered as the greatest of all time. You'll be pound for pound number one, and nobody will deny you. You don't have to fight Alex Pereira, because Tom Aspinall is a tougher fight for you. This is what makes a great champion. And I believe this is the right fight for you. But it's your call at the end of the day, Jon Jones.
Jon Jones, if you have a little bit of faith in yourself, if you have a little bit of belief in yourself, fight Tom Aspinall and beat him. Why are you saying that you don't want to gamble your legacy against Tom Aspinall? That actually means that you're scared of him. You're like, I'm not ducking Tom Aspinall. I'm not scared of Tom Aspinall. I just don't want to gamble my legacy. What does gambling mean? It means you don't have faith in yourself. It means you're actually putting your jeopardy on the line, right? So that thing, Jon Jones, and you talk about retiring on the top. You give the examples of, like, some of the fighters who didn't actually retire on the top. The guys that you looked up to, like Anderson Silva, you're like, okay, Anderson Silva was doing such a great job, was destroying everybody in the division. But what he couldn't do is he lost the last couple of fights, but you want to retire on the top. You think by beating Stipe Miocic and retiring, and then maybe beating Pereira after that and retiring, that's going to leave your legacy at the top? No, people are not going to think about you. People will just forget about you. Yeah. Let's say you retire, and then Tom Aspinall, he becomes the undisputed champion after that, and he defends a title a couple of times. People are then going to say, put him in the GOAT conversation. So if you beat him right now is your chance. If you beat him right now, then people are not going to talk about
him than him fighting Tom Aspinall when he's 40 years old.
Just think about it. Like, Tom Aspinall is 30 years old. If you beat him right now and then you just retire, then Tom Aspinall, maybe he fights for like 5 more years, become undisputed champion. He beat a lot of other fighters. But then you're going to be able to say always that you're the guy who actually beat Tom Aspinall.
Yep. In his prime.
In his prime, you can actually say that. You can do that and retire. But But Jon Jones, you have to do this. You have to take this fight. Don't be a pussy. Take the fight, Johnny boy.
Yeah.
All right,
But
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.